So here's the thing with Chainsaw Man Episode 8. I think out of every episode I've watched this year, this might have the most different feeling beginning to end that I think I've seen, man, because the whole concept of the will they, won't they, the sexual undertones, the feelings of a boy who's gotten everything he ever thought he wanted in such a short amount of time after suffering for so long, to the absolute gut punch that was not one, not two, but at least 3 characters on death's doorstep. I mean, actually 4 if you also count Aki, but goddamn, one of them actually seemingly got killed. Most of the time when 2 characters get shot in the head, you think it's game over. Makima, I don't know, man. This girl just seems too psycho and too cool, calm, and collected to be gone this soon. I still expect the shoe to drop and for her to do some shit to my boy Denji, so I'm gonna wait and see what happens there. Denji, he's a chainsaw devil, he'll make it. Aki had me worried, not gonna lie, and if it wasn't for Himeno's seemingly sacrifice, he would have bit the dust, and she did, and literally just the moment with only the clothes there. I don't know how Chainsaw Man does it, but 2 months in a row, this shit just leaves me damn speechless, man. Now, there is a full live reaction available on the Patreon. This one literally made me speechless and just not know where shit was gonna go. And to see just the escalation of this episode, like, hands down, the thing I want to talk about first is both the guns and then obviously the whatever the hell type of brutality that was at the end. Because I love the concept of this world because this actually recently happened in Japan because Japan's notoriously known for having very low gun rates. The former prime minister of Japan who ended up getting shot and killed, like if you watch the video of when that happened, people didn't know how to respond because they don't recognize the sound of a gun because they don't have to deal with it. And to see like as everyone's getting their guns drawn in this episode, like literally they're like, oh, that's fireworks, or oh, I don't recognize that sound. They handled it in such a realistic fashion, and as the momentum was building up throughout it, to just see person after person getting gun drawn and just to see the sheer number, like one person having it is enough for people to raise their eyebrows. There's only like law enforcement or this and that should be able to have it. And the fact that we're seeing so many seemingly civilians do it in this episode, like that's enough to be a pretty shocking moment to keep the momentum going for another week. But the fact that you shoot Makima, you shoot Denji, you literally nearly kill Aki multiple points, and then to have Himeno, after making me drop my guard so hard on this character, and I think it was a couple videos back, I said, I'm expecting at some point Aki's gonna be the one to have to bury a partner, right? Like that was something I mentioned. But then the way they used the whole like will they, won't they, to then making that pact of I'll help you with Makima if you help me with Aki, it makes you just say things will be okay. Not even like you're necessarily saying it on purpose, but it lets the viewer let their guards down. And to see her give up in this episode to get consumed by her devil to just keep him safe, I mean, I was not expecting that. And truthfully, I really have come to enjoy all the characters in this show in different ways, even if sometimes they make me feel disgusted, as in the case of Power not flushing or our girl throwing up in my boy's mouth. They're still such amazing characters. Like Makima, I think is probably one of the most twisted characters that I'm just waiting for something to happen with that manipulation, but one of the best characters nonetheless. And to see what they're able to do in such a short amount of minutes, like the fact that they kick this off and almost like resolve it in like a quarter of an episode. The fact that it was so well done, you go from literally having in the previous battle, my boy swinging chainsaws around like a wild animal. He's an untrained killer. It's vicious, it's brutal. But then you go to this fight and it's a trained swordsman, very careful, very precise with his stabs and his moments. And then to just see how quickly it just shit hits the fan even harder. You seemingly deal the final blow, girl comes in, brings him back up, and then the snake just chomps the thing that our girl literally gave her life for, and I don't know where you go from here. I imagine Chainsaw Devil's gotta start ripping and just cutting through. I don't see how you survive otherwise. But, I mean, the Gun Devil is seemingly not playing around, man, and I don't know where you go from here because the amount of pain that this episode delivered in such a shocking but effective way, that, man, like, I love it when episodes just have an outer-worldly feel with their directing. Like, if you look at it from minute 1 of this episode, the first person of a drunken girl going to shower, she opens the fridge, she falls, you see things from first person, but also, even after that, like, the morning after, there's something about the presentation that feels a little disorienting, as if something's off, something's amiss. And pretty quickly I'm thinking to myself, oh, it's a director's stylistic vision. They just want to make it feel a little different. And then to see the end of the episode and to see how it actually makes you feel unnerved in such a clever way that you don't necessarily expect shots to the head, and once it happens you don't expect it again, and then when that happens you say, well damn, won't be a third time, and you're like, well, you're right, it wasn't a third time. Instead, characters are getting brutally stabbed or consumed by their devils. And this shit is one of the best episodes hands down that Chainsaw Man has delivered, with arguably one of the best ending songs as well. When I was listening to that, pretty bad at picking up if one artist did a song that sounds, because like, oh shit, the way this singer's, performing, it kind of sounds like Tokyo Ghoul. Turns out, yeah, TK is the one who did this ending song, and the one who did the opening 1 and opening 2 for both seasons, or season 1's opening and season 2's opening, I should say, for Tokyo Ghoul. And it was so different than I was expecting. I was expecting a very calm but like horror ominous style, but instead a Tokyo Ghoul sounding opening song, but for an ending, just works so much better. I wouldn't say the visuals are like, I think, the absolute best ending we've seen, but once again, it perfectly captures like what's happening in this episode. And I mean, the fact that we're 8 for 8 now, because here's the thing, this isn't the first rodeo where I've seen an anime have multiple ending songs, even 12 ending songs. I've seen that before. This is the first time I've seen it be this high quality that no one could say with a straight face there's been a bad ending song as it stands. There may be ending songs that don't fit your musical taste, which obviously that can be understandable, but has yet to be a bad visually or bad sounding ending song, and the fact that it's going 8 for 8 and I'm sure it's going to go 12 for 12 is absolutely fantastic. I mean, I'm not really surprised Denji turned down Himeno, though I'm kind of curious if he's going to regret it, seemingly now that she's dead, almost like it could have been a parting gift. But I mean, it makes sense for the boy. Not only was he just vomited into his mouth by this girl, he can only look at her as puke girl now, but also, as horny as he was in the moments building up to it, the whole lollipop thing, it was just like, he knows who he wants, and honestly, you gotta respect that. It wasn't even just about being a decent person and not taking advantage. It was just simply about the boy knew what he wanted, and, he ended up getting called a gentleman afterwards. And I thought it was great because it really gets them connected in a way where, like, they almost went to that extreme. She makes a joke about how, like, well, at least I didn't take advantage of a minor. And I'm like, my girl, you put your tongue down his throat. It does, like, if you're worried about going all the way, I think you've already maybe tiptoed the line of what's acceptable if that's what you're worried about. But the fact that they start bonding in the way that they did, it just makes you feel like, oh shit, this is going to be a really fun pairing. Eventually, she'll probably end up dead, and Denji will have to maybe learn to grieve and things like that. But at the same time, like, it just makes you feel like, oh, this is going to be really fun to see, like, how he'll help her and she'll help him, and episode ends in the way that it does, and I'm like, holy shit, like, what in the hell? And it's not often I can see 2 characters get shot in the head and honestly say they're probably okay. And if not, that will be one of the craziest bait and switches I think I've ever seen, because all throughout these videos I'm saying I'm waiting for Makima to manipulate Denji, and they just casually killed her there actually. I mean, that'd be one wild ass way to make the viewers unnerved, to then actually just say, shit, maybe that was just a whole bait and switch the whole time. I don't know, but great episode, shocking for sure. What the hell did I just watch is all I can say after watching Chainsaw Man episode 8, but what about you? Do let me know your feelings down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Like I mentioned, full live reaction available on the Patreon. You can also get video shoutouts, a bunch of other perks as well, so do consider if you so wish. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.